wanted to give a little bit of an update on how my low buy has been going so far this year. I must just have like a ton of energy today because I've already filmed 3 videos today. I normally am not ever able to do that much. Even if I have the time, I don't have the energy or like anything prepared to do 3 in a row like that. And it's getting a little bit later in the day, and I thought to myself, can I do one more? And turns out I can. My low buy, I think in comparison to some other low buys that I've seen, is relatively simple. I've seen some people go really in depth and focus on categories that they have a lot of trouble buying too much of. Maybe they have certain rules for certain times of the year or leading up to certain big sales. And as much as I love watching everybody's process and what works for them and kind of just learning from them to see what would work for me, I do like to keep things simple. I tend to work best in absolutes. If there's wiggle room, if there's exceptions, I tend to just take advantage of them. I just don't really have the best self-discipline with stuff. And that's why my no buy year, where I didn't buy any makeup for the entire year of, I think 2017, why that worked so well for me is because it was like an automatic no to anything. And it was just like easy because the decision was made for me. If I wanted to keep up with the no buy year, if I wanted to say I did it, I had just had to say no to everything for a year. And so this low buy is pretty simple like that. Whereas I used up a certain amount of makeup products, I finished them, and then I could buy a certain number. And I think that worked really well for me. Okay, I just talked about how I don't have a lot of exceptions or rules, but now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of did. I didn't count gifts with purchase. I didn't count PR. I wouldn't have counted like makeup that someone just randomly gave me or gifted me. And in general, for every 11 makeup products I finished, I felt comfortable bringing in 5. So I had to finish a little bit over 2 makeup products in order to bring one in. I think that was a really great system. It worked very well for me. Up at this point, I have finished 54 makeup products, which means I was able to bring 20 products in, and I have purchased 19 products. So I still have one technically left in my bank, but it does not matter because I have chosen to end my low buy. I have been doing it for just over 7 months now, and it's been working really well. I'm going to quickly walk you through the things that I purchased, and then we'll talk a little bit about if I think I did well, where I'm going to go from here, some more information. And I'll quickly go through the PR portion. I'm not sure how much people actually want to hear about this sort of thing, but I received a total of 7 products, 2 from one brand and 5 from the other brand. 2 of them were from What's Up Beauty. I received these beautiful eyeshadow palettes. I have talked about these before on my channel. Beautiful. I reach for these all the time. I love these palettes. And then I also received 5 primers from Smashbox. And I haven't used all of them just yet, but I am glad to have these because I want to start doing a foundation review series. And so having each primer, being able to test it with different primers, but all from the same brand, I think is going to add like a really nice element to the review. Now let's talk about all the things that I've purchased. I'm going to try to break them up by category instead of going, actually no, I'm going to go in chronological order. So the very first thing I purchased this year, it was from Perricone MD, and it was an SPF lipstick. It's called the No Lipstick lipstick, but it's kind of like a tinted lip balm, and it's SPF 15. It doesn't look that bright on the lips. It's a little bit more sheer. I love having a SPF lip product, especially one that doesn't taste like SPF. That's very hard to find. And this just randomly happened to be on sale. It was February 12th. And then February 21st, I made my very first Lisa Eldridge purchase, and I bought a foundation card, and I did a video where I tested out the different shades to see which one would match me the best for whenever I do buy a foundation in the future sometime. And in that purchase, I also bought their lip gloss. And this is in the shade Muse. And I do really like this a lot. It doesn't have any taste or scent to it, which is surprising. I am glad. I do prefer that in lip products. And this is very nourishing. It's not as thick as the Charlotte Tilbury lip baths, but it is it can be thick. Like some people might think it's too thick. Not me though, I love it. Then I was kind of in a Lisa Eldridge kick, right? So I made another purchase on March 18th, which is right after my birthday, so we can consider this a birthday gift to myself, and I bought 2 of their lipsticks. One is the matte formula and one is the luxuriously lucent formula, and the one that I got in the matte formula is Cinnabar, and this is a stunning, like a burnt orange. It looks really red on camera for some reason, but it is more of a like burnt color. I did wear it in a video recently and I got a lot of compliments on it. I do love these types of shades. I think it's beautiful. And I prefer satin lipsticks, but I actually prefer the matte formula from the Lisa Eldridge brand. The luxuriously lucent formula, it's a little thin. Like I prefer it to be a little bit thicker, like the Charlotte Tilbury Kissing formula. And the shade I got in that formula is Rose Official, and this is a really beautiful, just rosy color. Because it is more lightweight, more satin, it does have like a very natural finish, and it's just really beautiful. I love it. It's great everyday pinky shade. I would like to get Kitten Official just because that's such a famous shade, and I see the swatches and it just looks beautiful. I would like to have it. But if I were to choose between the 2 formulas, I think I prefer the matte formula. It's funny because I prefer the matte formula from Lisa Eldridge more than the Charlotte Tilbury one, but I prefer the Charlotte Tilbury satin formula over the Lisa Eldridge. One thing to keep in mind though is like something in the magnet keeps these from staying together. I don't know if I can like show you correctly, but anytime I try to put them next to each other, I can't completely link them up because the magnet keeps them from doing that. So it's hard whenever I have them sitting together on the counter or something, they like repel away from each other. So I thought that was just something to note, something worth knowing. And then I didn't make another purchase for another month. I used my Sephora gift card that I got for Christmas to pick up some things from Sephora. Was that during the VIB sale? I think it might have been. But I got 2 things. One was a concealer from Hourglass, and I just bought the mini. I was actually out of concealer. I finished my last concealer and I didn't have any more. So I bought this one. I was curious about the formula and I liked that they sold minis. I got the shade Cedar, which I would say is a pretty good shade match for me. That's what I'm wearing today. And I've mentioned probably in like 4 videos by now that I don't actually love this formula. I'm not very impressed with it. I like really, really creamy concealers. Like the Kosas concealer, I love the consistency of that. This one is a lot more lightweight and just drier and thinner, but it has a lot of pigment, a lot of coverage, so a little goes a long way. You only need a tiny bit. The way I use this is I certainly don't like swipe it under my eyes because that's way too much coverage, even for me who prefers fuller coverage concealers. I take a little bit of this, I rub it on the top of my finger, and then I rub it between 2 finger pads, and then I apply it that way. And I find I prefer that. I also like how long lasting this is. I've actually seen throughout the day some of my foundations that don't have the best lasting power. My foundation will have worn away, but my concealer will still be there. So there's a lot of really great things about this concealer. I definitely would recommend it if you like those sorts of things. You can't take your time when you blend it, is what I'm trying to say. Like it just, you put it on and it's almost set and dried and like ready to go. Like you don't have time to blend it out. And I like having more time, and I just prefer it to feel creamier on my under eyes. I feel like if you put too much on, it'll make your under eyes look really dry. So it's not the worst. I will finish it, and I've already worn it like 50 times. So you do get a lot of use out of this little mini formula, but not something I'd buy again probably. And then the other thing I got from Sephora is this Rare Beauty Nearly Neutral. It's the Stay Vulnerable Glossy Lip Balm. So it's a lip balm gloss hybrid. I do like all the hybrids that brands are coming out with nowadays. I'm not a big fan of lip oils, but if it's a balmy gloss or a balmy lipstick or a glossy lipstick, more often than not, I'm gonna like it. Next up, I made a purchase 6 days later on April 27th from Ulta, and I purchased this lippy from About Face. It's the Cherry Pick Lip Color Butter in the shade Pink Pina. I'm kind of really into these types of products. Like I just really want to try them, and this is no different. It reminds me of like the Kaja product in this packaging, the one from Hourglass. It does have a very, very fruity scent, which I'm not a big fan of, but I will look past because this is beautiful. I got the shade Pink Pina. I was I wanted to get the guava one, but now I'm glad I got this one because it's more pink. This is very creamy and nourishing, a little bit of a thicker formula, which I prefer. I don't like things that are too thin or slippery, and I'm really liking it so far. I'm glad I purchased it. And then in May, I made, whoa, I don't know what was happening that day, but on May 20th, I made 3 makeup purchases. Dang. The first purchase I made was from Besame, and this one was really good. I wonder if they just all had really good deals happening at the time. I think that's what happened. So Besame, I always get the refill of their Violet Translucent Pressed Powder, this thing here, because I use that to set my under eye concealer, and I love it. I've gone through multiples of those, and I'm almost out of the one that I have, so I did purchase a refill pan. And then there was another special where you would get another free compact. This is like a refillable compact. You would get another one for free with any powder purchase. So I did buy another shade. I think this is like the Peggy purchase, and this is very similar to the violet one, but it has a slightly yellow undertone versus purple. And I just wanted to try it. I haven't really tried it just yet. I'm kind of focusing on other powders, but I am glad to have it. And these compacts are gorgeous. I was just so happy to see that these were back in stock that I picked up another one. And it's not makeup technically, but I did want to talk about something else I bought from Besame, and that's this little fragrance sampler. It's the Decades of Fragrance sample set. It starts at 1920 and then goes up to 1960, and each one is supposed to embody the scent or something from that decade. I haven't tried any of them yet, but I'm really hoping I find one that I love. This one from 1960 smells a lot like a perfume my mom used to wear. I just had a very visceral memory reaction to that scent in particular, so I'll have to look into that and see what the notes are, because it does remind me of something she used to wear when I was younger. And then as part of what I purchased, I got a gift with purchase, and it was just like a little mystery bag, and it didn't say what was in the bag, but I was like, oh yeah, sure, you know, I get it for free anyway. It came with a free eyeshadow brush, it came with a red nail polish, it came with this free jasmine setting mist, which I secretly wanted to try for a long time, and it came with a full-size lipstick in Portrait Pink, which is another shade that I always wanted to try, but I have the shade Orchid Pink and I do like it. I just didn't feel like I needed to buy another one. So you got like 4 full-size products as a gift with purchase in addition to what I already bought. I thought that was really good. I don't know what type of special that was or how often they do that, but I thought that was a very, very good gift with purchase. And then the next purchase I made that same day was from Charlotte Tilbury. I purchased 2 things that had just released. I saw that they had re-released the Glowgasm face palette, and I had wanted this so bad when it originally came out, so I snatched it up immediately. And I also grabbed the blush wand in Pinkgasm Sunset because I do really like this formula a lot. I have a couple blushes from this line and I really like them, and I did do a whole video where I swatched all of these. I compared it to every other Charlotte Tilbury product I had. I compared it to the other face palette that I have from this brand. And it wasn't until later that I realized this is actually the deeper version of the 2 palettes they put out before. So it's not exactly the same as the one that I had originally wanted, but they didn't release that one. They just released the deeper one. And so I am glad I have it, but I kind of wish that they had made both of them available, because I definitely would have purchased the one for light skin tones over this one. But I'm glad I have them. They're pretty and they're very beautiful, like summery strawberry colors. So yeah, there was a really great deal with Besame. I think there was also a sale in addition to the gift with purchase. These 2 things launched from Charlotte Tilbury and I wanted to get my hands on them before they sold out. And then the next purchase and last purchase I made on this day, very expensive day, was from LH Cosmetics. They were also having some sort of summer sale. I think it was 20% off. So I used that opportunity to pick up a few things that I'd been wanting. The first thing I got was the Shimmer Saga Quad, and I love this. I've reached for this so much. I'm wearing one of the shades on my eyes today. I'm actually wearing 2 of the shades on my eyes today. I'm wearing like 10 different eyeshadows, so I can't really show you specifically, but I'm wearing this lighter one, and then I'm also wearing this corner shade here. And these are just so beautiful. They're very sparkly and glittery. They do have a little bit of fallout, but that can be said for most sparkly topper shades like this, and I really love them. I find myself reaching for this to take up any eyeshadow look up a notch multiple times, so I'm really, really glad I have this. And then the blush duo, it's called Area, but I think that's the name for like both of the shades. And then I think each of the shades have their own name. The darker one is called Scope, and the lighter one is called Link. So Link and Scope. And I really like how unique these are. They didn't look like they'd be this dusty on the website. They look like they'd be more like cool tone bubbly pinks. But I actually prefer the undertone in these. I think this is a little bit more flattering for me, and they are very unique to my blush collection. They both have a satin finish, so they do have a really beautiful sheen on the cheeks, and often when I wear these, I just mix them both together. Or I do that Charlotte Tilbury pop thing where I apply the lighter one all over the cheek, and then I pop the darker shade right on the top apple of my cheekbone. I also wanted to try this fantastic lip balm. It's like a tinted lip balm lipstick, and I got the shade Pink Opal because I thought it would be a beautiful, like, everyday My Lips But Better shade, and gosh, I really love this. This is nice and creamy. It has a very, very subtle, almost non-existent sweet scent to it, but it doesn't taste like anything. I also love like the packaging. It's like weighted and like this dark charcoal gray. Really big fan of that. Plus the setting spray. I haven't used this a ton. I'm really trying to finish the ColourPop setting spray that I have, but I have tested out the sprayer, and the spray is very, very fine. It's very luxurious feeling, but we'll see if it can compare to my ultimate favorite, the All Nighter, my old reliable from Urban Decay. All right, the next purchase I made was on June 11th, and I made a purchase from Ulta. I bought two things, and one of them was the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I got the shade Fair Beige, and the reason I purchased this is because I was kind of tired of how full coverage and slightly dry this one was. Like, this is more for like full coverage days, like full face, drama, I'm gonna be photographed, I'm gonna be at an event, I need my makeup to last a long time, you know. This is like a more hardcore concealer, and I couldn't figure out how to sheer it down or make it more wearable. I figured it out since then, but I was having trouble at the time, and so I did purchase this one from e.l.f. because I had always wanted to try this formula, and with it being a hydrating camo concealer, I thought it would be creamier and maybe a little less coverage than the Hourglass one. And I have reached for it a few times. I like it. I think it's a good shade match for me, and I'm glad I have it. And I also purchased this concealer from LA Girl, and this is a white concealer. I was finding that a lot of my foundations were too dark for me. It was before I went to my family vacation to the beach a couple weeks ago, and I just found that I was like so pale that a lot of my foundations that normally matched me fine were just getting to be a little bit too dark. So I bought this to mix with them. I use it to create like my perfect cream blush color. I use it all the time. I use it every day, at least once in one capacity, in one way. So I'm really glad to have this. And I think depending on how long it takes me to finish this, I might just buy like the foundation version of this. LA Girl has a lot of cool color correcting options, both in their concealers and in their foundations. And then I was at Sephora with my mom. She came to stay with me for the weekend, and we went to Sephora to pick up some more eyeliners from her. She really likes those blue eyeliners from Urban Decay. So we were going and we had a lot of fun. We were like playing around, and from that shopping spree, we discovered the Haus Labs eye paints. I don't remember what they're called, but I bought her the green one. And that night, whenever we were just like hanging out, we did play around with them. And I created this really cool look just on one eye, just playing around using, most of the green is from that Haus Labs pigment. And then I did have one of the pencils from Urban Decay kind of on the outer portions of it. My mom and I, like, we have that in common. We love playing with makeup. And it was just like a really nice night. It was just a nice chance for us to catch up and spend some quality time together, so that was a nice memory. But while we were there, I saw that the Kosas brand had come out with minis of their concealers, which was a very smart move. I wanted to repurchase the one that I had, but I was hesitant to do that because they tend to expire really fast, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to finish it before it went bad. I didn't want to waste my money. So now that they have minis, I'm like way more excited to purchase these again because I do really like the formula. I just wish they would expand their shade range so that I could get the same shade again as a mini. But right now I have 1.5, so loving this, glad to have it back in my collection. And then the very last purchase I made was just a few days ago. What's Up Beauty launched a mascara, and I follow the founder on LinkedIn, and she said that she's been working on the formula and working on perfecting this for 2 years. And so I really wanted to try it out, and I really like the wand. I'm not going to open it because I don't plan on using it right away. I have some other mascaras to get through, but that's what the wand looks like, and I really like when wands are shaped like that. I prefer those rubber bristle brushes more so than like the really fluffy brushes. And so I'm just excited to try it, and I definitely wanted to pick it up to support Elena. And that was on July 10th. That was the day that this launched. So since the beginning of the year, I have brought in 29 makeup products, and of those 29, I purchased 19 of those myself. And I think 19 makeup products over the course of 6.5 months really isn't bad, especially considering a lot of these were things that I needed to like replace. I had completely run out of the product and I needed more. And a lot of them are just formulas that I've really been wanting to try. And overall, I really like everything I've purchased. And so that is a big win. Sometimes you buy makeup and you have the best intentions, you want it to work for you, but that's not always the case. And it can feel a bit wasteful whenever that happens. But no, I think these are all really great, really solid products. I'm glad to have them. I think they all bring something special and unique and enjoyable to my collection. Another interesting metric I wanted to share with you, because this is the first time I've ever been able to do it, and that is the amount, the retail value of products I've been able to finish during my low buy so far. And I have been able to finish $1,058.45 worth of makeup products, and that is 54 makeup products I was able to finish so far this year. I am really glad I did the low buy the way I did, and if I were to go on another low buy at some point, I'd probably do something really similar. One of the main reasons I went on the low buy to begin with is because I did really want to focus on a lot of my makeup products that were getting up there in age. I just wanted to make sure I reached for them and finished them before they got to be too old where I didn't feel comfortable having them anymore. It was also just fun to challenge myself and see if I could, and it made it so that every single product I brought in was something that I had done a lot of research on. It was something I really wanted, something that maybe I'd been wanting for a long time, and it just made that experience all the more fun, all the more enjoyable, and kind of brought me back to why I love buying and collecting makeup in the first place. I don't think I need to continue the low buy for the rest of the year. I do have quite a few products that I would like to start bringing in. I just have a lot of ideas for content that I want to start making, and of course I don't buy things just for videos, and I have room now in my collection to grow and explore, and that is what I plan on doing. I know a lot of people are doing low buys. If you have one that you're documenting on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, or if you know of someone who's doing a low buy and you really love how they have it set up, please let me know. I love watching content like that. But in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!